Okay, so coffee, most important meal of the day. And today, I'm making coffee. So a little bit of that. Best 2 pieces of bread. The breakfast of champions. This video has been recorded 6 times because I keep messing up. This video is kind of rushed because I don't have anything else to do today. And that breakfast sequence took a really long time to edit, like extremely long for what it is. How's everyone's week going so far? I'm glad everyone was able to upload everything properly and there were no problems except for Shannon. But, you know, how is everyone's week going? Yesterday, I went with Erica's dad, my dad, to back to school night for Erica's, junior year. And I got to visit all my I butt ears with a lot of people. I was giving a lot of people hugs saying like, hi, I haven't seen you in so long. And I just got this pierced and it's been kind of irritated the past few days. Oh, by the way, I got piercings. I got this one again and I got this. Pretty fascinating. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story about piercing your nose. There's 2 ways you can pierce a nose. You can use the piercing gun, like what they do for ears, or they have the needle. Now the needle is used for smaller piercings. Like if you don't want that big of a hole for your nose piercing, you get the needle. Now I was like, I don't want to take out my piercing and like have a really obvious hole in my nose where there shouldn't be a hole. So I was like, okay, I'll get the needle. They soak this cork, like this little blue cork, in like disinfectant alcohol, and then they shove it up your nose. So my eyes were watering because there's alcohol-soaked something in my nose. And then the guy coats this needle with disinfectant ointment, and at first I'm just thinking like, oh, it's just a normal needle. I did not realize this. The needle is thin on one side and hollow on the other. Hollow so that they could put the little nose ring in the needle. It didn't register with me, and the only reason I figured it out is because when they stuck the needle in, you can see the needle. It is really daunting. So they stick the needle in your nose, and you're sitting there like, okay, then they're gonna take the needle out, and then they're gonna put the nose ring in. That's not how they do it. They stick the needle in your nose. You're sitting there like, oh, there's a needle in my nose. And then they pull the cork from your nose and pull the needle through your... The needle's like this long. And they were just like... And for some reason, I didn't think that when you pierced something, there would be blood involved. But the guy was like swabbing the inside of my nose. And I was like, huh, that's weird. Why is that Q-tip red? And then they put this nose ring in. And the way that nose rings usually are, they're straight with a teeny tiny gem on the end. And he bent it. Like he put it in my nose, then he bent it so it wouldn't fall out. It hurt for about 2 hours. I felt like I was gonna throw up then pass out. Maybe it's because I watched a needle go in my nose. But after that, it doesn't even hurt. Like, a few times I've forgotten that it's there, and I'll, like, go like this, and I'll irritate it, and I'd be like, huh, that's a piercing. The ear one, however, I wrote on Facebook, but I'll kind of go over it a little bit. It's not supposed to be swollen and irritated after you get it, and it was for 3 days. So I took out the earring to kind of look over why it did that, because the instructions say, if it's irritated, take the earring out. So I took it out. Let me show you this gargantuan monster. Now for, comparison's sake, let me show you what my earrings look like. Do you see how thin that earring thing is? So when you put it in your ear, it doesn't hurt. Like, I've worn these earrings nonstop for like 2 years. Let me show you this gargantuan monster. This is much, much thicker than any other earring I own. I took it out and I looked at this thing and I'm like, this is not an earring. This is like a railroad spike. So I tried to put this little guy in my regular earring. It didn't go in. It went in probably to the point where it's still thin. It's thin for a little bit, then it gets really thick. And at first you're thinking like, man, it's not that bad. Like, I don't see the issue. So that's my piercing story. I have one other bit of news, I guess. News. Yeah, it's news. I was talking to Shannon about this yesterday, but I'll divulge into it. I'm getting back into my writing because of my inability to get a willing cast in for my films. I'm going to get back into writing because I love writing. I'm gonna be making Bravo Team 1 into a short story. And that will be the easiest because I already have the script for it. I can just take the script and make it into a story. I'm going to be making the story that Chelsea and I came up with, in which wormholes sent you to another dimension and put you on another planet when you go through it. And 2 astronauts that do such, that are in love because, love and all that cute shit. They get separated and they spend the entire story trying to get back to one another. That one's going to be the hardest one for me to write just because I don't have a whole lot of backstory on it. I like having a science to it before I start writing it, and I can't come up with a good pseudoscience for it, if you know what I mean. So, and I also don't have a name for it, so if you guys have any help and suggestions, feel free to let me know so I'm not writing something terrible. I'm going to be making my Visera story, in which she's like this girl gifted with the power of fire, and as she gets older and older, the fire gets more and more wild, and she starts changing her physical appearance, and she's in this really corrupt kingdom, and she goes to overthrow the king, and she does so by marrying him. And spoiler, by the way, because that's not how the first book ends. The first book ends with a character saying, I don't understand. What is it that you want? Do you want to be feared or do you want to be loved? That's how the story ends. And then I'm going to write 2 sequels to it. And it's going to fork off in 2 different ways. It's not going to be a linear sequel. It's going to go one sequel if she said loved, the other sequel if she said feared. Both of them kind of end the same way, but the entire story in the center is really different. It sounds like a choose your story RPG game. Maybe I should write it as a game and then get some connections and get this made into a game instead. Everyone needs a fire demon witch queen game. I mean, yeah. And the last story that I'm going to be working on is a story that I started about 2 months ago, but I scrapped it and I'm rewriting it. It's my Nazul story, the Navaret Airi Zeulu Lily story from Ruby. It's going to be a fan fiction. I mean, there's no way around it. I can say based in the Ruby universe, but it's still considered a fan fiction. Kim has been really helpful with the Nazul storyline. because I understand Navarette really well, and I've made Lily something that I really love. I have a lot of ideas for Zayulu, and I'm using a lot of Shannon's ideas for Zayulu. I added a few extra ones just because I thought they were cute. And Heidi was really hard for me to come up with, so I went and I talked to Kim because Kim's the one that made her, and we were talking about it for a long time. Kim has made Heidi maybe my favorite character. Like, I think I might like Heidi more than I like my own characters. And I plan on making everybody else in this group part of the story, so in your upcoming video, please tell me what name you would like. You guys should have a team based off of Pokemon. Yes, okay. Come up with a Pokemon-esque name, and I will put you in the story because I need characters. And if you don't come up with one, I'll come up with one for you. So that's all I have for news this week. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.